Bang! Neevesknives. I'm Jared. My lovely wife Kara is a queen, and she's what else was I supposed to say? And she's got 13 and 1 in Call of Duty. She's the queen of COD. She wanted me to tell you guys that. So congratulations to her. Yeah, 30 and 0 or 30 and 1? Oh, 30 and 1. Woo. That's actually badass. That's actually pretty good. So you guys are hilarious. I'm reading the chat while while we're sitting here, and I'm gonna read it back because this shit's hilarious. Breeze says, how do you say it? I want to read it word verbatim. Um, oh, I gotta find it. Where is it at? He says, could we at least get some elevator music while we wait? What kind of garbage channel is this? And I said, no. I said, I said, what the fuck do you think this is? Metal Complex or something? And then Breeze says, excessive wait times will result in dislikes. Ed says, your call is very important to us. Please stay on the line, and the first available representative will be right with you. Please, he goes, while you wait, please enjoy this wonderful selection of silence we have prepared just for you. Let me read that again. While you wait, please enjoy this wonderful selection of fine silence we have prepared just for you. That shit's hilarious. I'm sitting here cracking up reading your guys' messages while we're waiting to go live. What's up, Jared, Monster, Michael, Mr. Matt? What's up? Wallaby, Breeze, Fiend, seems logical. Ed Durbin, Russ, everybody's in here. That's awesome. I appreciate you guys coming. It's an addiction. What's up, bud? So I got a few topics we're going to talk about here in a second, but if you guys ever have something you guys want to specifically talk about, just leave it in the comments and we'll run with it. You guys know how it goes. While you wait, please enjoy this. While you wait, please enjoy this compilation of people screaming in terror. um, tell Kara to start a Twitch channel already. Yeah, she talked about it before, like starting a gaming channel and stuff like that, just because she loves it so much. It's like, why not? Um, I know I haven't started it yet, but I'm gonna really soon start not a whole channel of it, but on this channel I'm going to do an ASMR video of knife sharpening. No words, no nothing, just all sharpening. Should be pretty nice to fall asleep to. I know a lot of people say that when they watch, like if they're listening to just the sounds, and I'm not like talking your ear off, it can put me to sleep too. So I understand. We would like to speak. We'd like to speak to you about the Lord and Savior. Hey, where are you going? Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Everybody's had that. So this new sharpening edge tester I got, just to speak about it for a second, because I think a lot of people would think from a device like that it'd be like the end all be all, right? Like, that'd be a great way to test your edge to see, I don't, how good your edge is. And I think it's one other thing, right? Because like, edge sharpness has nothing to do with the quality of an edge. You can have the sharpest edge in the world, use it once, and it will just go to crap. So the worst thing you want to do is think that a level of sharpness means the quality of an edge or how good an edge is. Now, obviously, there's the standard testings, right? Like the finger test where you touch it and you feel it and you check for a burr, you feel how sticky it is. Then there's the fingernail test, the touching the edge test, where you feel up and down, you rub this way, make sure there's no burr, give it a little toucheroo. Then I like to do the roll test with my finger. That's another one. Then the nail test. There's this one, which is the most important in my opinion, right there, because by running your nail up, you will feel any like stuff that not even a microscope can pick up, the little tiny nicks and dings. Now, another one that a lot of people forget about or don't know about is the fingernail test, where you rest it on your nail and you just let the weight and see if it can hang on. See how it's hanging on? Like, and it just basically shows how sticky it is. If it can stick to your nail, if it slides off, it's not that the edge is bad, it's just that the grit isn't exposed and it's slick. Medieval swords were not as sharp as most people realize. Beating it against other metal objects will dull a sharp edge very quickly. Yes, yes. I honestly would say that they weren't sharp at all. I would say that they are like, I'm not saying obviously you swing a heavy metal object. I don't care how dull it is; it's going to do damage, right? And possibly even cut you. Um, in that case, I think it was kind of like axe sharp. And I know there's people out there that can get axes so sharp to whittle a hair. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like a regular axe, the kind you chop wood with after it's chopped wood. Is probably more like that because it had to be able to take strikes against other steel and not deform and chip and stuff like that. And that in that case, you want a strong edge. And that was my next, comment was that you want to look at the edge. You want to look at the edge, make sure the grip pattern's nice and even, make sure the bevel is nice and even. And because like I can make an edge, I mean, so damn sharp. I remember like when I first started sharpening, I'd get an edge stupid sharp, but it wasn't good quality. It wasn't strong. So basically, it had a lot of fatigued steel. I wasn't staring at it enough. I wasn't looking at it enough, and using it once or twice, it would literally just go to crap because it didn't have no stability, or it had fatigued steel on it. So by looking at it, you can see, and then also like seeing if the burr is still there. Like letting the light shine out the right way, seeing how it looks in the light, looking at the edge straight down, stuff like that. Just little details. Then there's the paper test, right? You take a piece of paper, take a receipt or a piece of paper and slice through it. See how loud it is, because how loud it is will tell you how fine the edge is. And if there's any hiccups, if there's any spots that stop or snag, then there's a spot there. But by going through it, hearing how silent it is, and also how easy it is, how clean it is, tells you a lot. Now, obviously, shaving your hair. That's another one, right? Shaving your hair, the hair test, how easily it'll cut a hair. Some people like to go like to paper towels. I do that sometimes. There's so many different factors. Now, that test, when not done, the sharpness tester that I got, if you guys watch the video, if not done properly, you can phony the numbers. You can easily phony the numbers. And I'm not saying it's not a good quality machine. I do think there's a place for it. I think there's a level of great quality there. And if you're honest, then your numbers will be appropriate to what the scale says, right? That scale. Now, if you're not, it's very easy to manipulate the numbers too. So now there's the thing with thinness, thickness of edges. What else? How far laid back your edges. There's so many different factors. So like on certain knives, I'm not looking for the extreme sharpness that I might in another knife. I might be looking for a strong edge that's also very sharp. And in that case, it might not even get a crazy sharp number, but what it would get with looking at all the other tests combined, plus that test, is a good edge, is the best quality edge for that knife versus the sharpest edge you could possibly get that isn't worth shit. Like, so you want to look at all the factors put together with that system rather than just looking at the number of that system. You could definitely fall victim to trying to get a number that doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at all. Like it's literally irrelevant to that knife. Now, um, somebody was asking me in the comments, and I was going through some comments on other people's videos, including my own. What's up, crazy shark? Mike Emler's in the house. What's up, bud? Somebody asked me what the best grit is for a knife. And that's not an answer. That's not, there's no good answer for that because there's so many variables, and variations. So, like, my question would be, like, for what, right? And on what? Because the difference between, say, a knife that I'm going to chop with and a knife I'm going to only do slicing with is going to be two different answers. Just like, um, now, so like the best way I could answer it, like if you just wanted, like, just give me a fucking answer. Okay, the best way I would be able to answer it is that there's different steels. So certain steels are going to polish good and take a really sticky edge. And in that case, that knife might be better off with a polish. But all steels take a toothy edge really good, or at least 99% of them. So I would say the best edge for any pocket knife is between 600 grit and 1,000 grit. After 1,000 grit, a lot of steels go downhill with sharpness. Some go up, but more than likely, or it's less likely, right? Um, they might look cool and keep the same level of sharpness on a lot of steels, but it's not like it's just going to keep going up. Some steels do, but all steels do really good between 600 and 1,000 grit. Now, what's the angle? Like, that's another question too, because like I could tell you one grit that might not do great on that knife with that angle. So knowing the angle you're going to put on it is another thing. Um, because like I like to say, like say with a knife that I'm going to put a low grit on, or sorry, a low angle on, like say 25 degrees or something like that, I might want more bite from that edge because it's not, it's not laid back. It's like this. So I'm going to probably want a little bit more bite on that edge for it to have more, able to cut a little bit better rather than, and because I'm trying to keep strength too. Um, what are we saying over here? Michael Emler says 20 CV loves a 10,000 grit. So with, obviously everybody's got their own opinions, and Mike Emler's sucks. No, I'm just joking. I'm just kidding. No, I found what I found is that some 20 CV does great with a polished edge, but I have seen some, and obviously this just means that it probably had a soft heat treat, which you can kind of expect from some of the production companies that are an $80 M390 knife or something like that. I'm not specifically talking about any brand. I'm just saying that companies trying to do M390 20 CV or 204B on a large production scale for very cheap money probably are not going to have the best heat treat on it, right? So in that case, they don't do great, in my opinion, from my experience with a high polish. But when done right, yeah, absolutely. I've gotten some stupid sharp edges from M390 or 20 CV with a polished edge. Like it's just like ridiculous. Same thing with some other steels too. But then there are some like I always talk about, like 154 CM, to me, in my opinion, doesn't do good with a polish. S35 VN doesn't do good with a polish. It'll look good, it'll look beautiful. And I'm not saying there isn't an S35 that will, or a 154 CM, or a CPM 154, which in my opinion is like the worst. From my experience, all the CPM 154 that I've ever sharpened, that like for a polish, man, it gets so slick. Like, I mean, stupid slick. Like, it's not even worth putting a polish on. But I'm sure there are some out there that will do good, like just depending like on the heat treat, etc. But maybe not though, because I don't know. Maybe the makeup of the steel just isn't good with a polish. Wait. Mike Elmer says, I'm sorry, I should have specified my custom knives with a custom heat treat. Love a 10,000 crash. Yeah, be specific, Mike. Uh, but yeah, there are so many variables. And that's why, like, when somebody asks me, like with a certain steel, and sometimes it's a steel I can literally just say, yeah, this steel does good with this grit. But sometimes it's like, it possibly could, but depending on the heat treat, because like put it this way, the zero tolerance 0450 that I got, right? That's S35VN. That knife doesn't do good with any grit because it's like literally the worst heat treat I've ever seen on a knife. So in that case, it's almost impossible. Just getting an edge on it is good. So there isn't no grit that's going to do good on it. It's so bad. And then by the time you sharpened all the steel off of it and got to good steel, it's so stupidly thick, it doesn't even make sense. Metal Complex taught Jared and Mike how to sharpen. I talked to Metal Complex and I asked him, I said, hey, bud, would you want to come on here and do a live? And he said, yeah, maybe when you get to 10,000 subs, dick. No, I'm just joking. He didn't say that. I'm joking, guys. I'm fucking joking. No, he said he'd love to. So we're probably gonna work something out where I can get him on here. And then we were talking about possibly me going on he's doing his, lives too. So we talked about me possibly going on him coming on ours, and that'll be awesome. I'd like to have him on here and vice versa. So that'd be really cool. Um, after I get to 10,000 subs. No, I'm just joking. um, how do you find tool steals? I usually take mine up to 800. Yeah, tool steals. I mean, I guess it depends on which one. I Most of the steals I deal with aren't tool steals besides like D2. I've done like 1095 and stuff like that. But yeah, I personally think like a good average grit for them is 600 grit. I think I like a good 600 grit. Now I'm talking diamond right now, because now if I said that for aluminum oxide, it would be probably feel a little finer. Um, but for diamonds, in which some tool steels aren't great with diamonds. Let me just be clear about that too. You most likely want to use aluminum oxide, or some type of other stone, like from aluminum oxide. That usually does better with a lot of those steels. At least in my opinion. Diamonds, I don't know what it is. It just doesn't seem like they take as good of an edge as they would on an aluminum oxide stone. But 600 grit, between 6 and 800 grit. So that was a good answer. 800 grit, even 500 grit, 5 to 800 grit. What was that? QM Fiend. Yes, please. I would be using Jared's Sharpie on the thumb trick. Otherwise, that may be unreliable for a first time user. I didn't see the beginning of that damn answer, but yeah, that Sharpie trick is really good. Later, bud. I've got to drink beer and kill things on the internet. Awesome, bud. Take it easy. Oh, Lacey, Kara, found you. Um, what is the difference between surgical steel and stainless steel? I honestly don't know. I'll say this, the difference between it on a knife. If you see surgical steel on a knife, fucking run. If you see stainless steel on a knife, run faster. Like that's it, really. They're both shit on a knife. Now if you're talking about a doctor's tool that's disposable, then yeah, it's probably really good because it's really sharp, thin, and it's getting, it's going to be used and thrown out. It's not going to be sharpened. The trying to sharpen stuff like that is no good. No good. So I want to sharpen my new Sabenza, but I want to take it down to 15 degree. Should I start at 320, then work my way to 6 and a ceramic? Okay, no. What I would recommend is the first two parts you said, start off at 320, then move to 6, then move to 1200. And then if you really want to do great with that ceramic, if you have one more stone after that, it'd be good. You could go to your ceramic after that. If it's an ultra fine, I would recommend. Sorry, it's not focusing. I would recommend going to, if you have some way like 1500, 2000 grit, but I wouldn't use the ceramic unless if I was over 1200 grit. Now, if you have a medium, if you have a because there are medium ceramic. If you have a medium and then the ultra fine, then yeah, you can do that maybe. 600 grit, the medium, and then the ultra fine. I personally think that spending now everybody's different. I mean, um, and the steels are different, so it kind of depends on the steels. But well, we're talking about S35, right? Not S45, right? Did they start using the S45 yet, Sabenzas? Because you said new. So I don't know. I personally with S35, I think you should leave it at 600, unless if you're talking about knocking off the burr. So if you wanted to, you could go 300, 600, knock the fucking burr off. That's a beautiful edge for a Sabenza, in my opinion. Surgical steel has the least amount of corrosion of any stainless steel, and that's why they're used for surgeons. There you go. There's the answer. It's S45. Okay, if it's S45, then yeah, you can go with polished. Now I haven't sharpened any of Chris Reeves, but I have done Hinders only once, and it seems like it polishes up pretty good. It takes a pretty good polish. I honestly, I can't speak for a mask or like on a whole bunch of it, like other, like with lots of steels I've sharpened it so many times that I can say for sure, yeah, it's going to do great with a polish. The one that I did good with a polish. But 600 grit to me is fucking great, man. That's a great edge. But yeah, if you want to polish on it, then I would personally do one more grit above the 600 if you can. Strider SNG, Chris Reeves Small Sabenza, or Hinder XM18. Chris Reeves, Hinder, then SNG. We're talking about all small ones. Yeah, the SNG. So the Hinder XM18, that'd be the 3-inch. Yeah, you know what? The Hinder XM18 3-inch, then the small Sabenza, then the small Sabenza and the Hinder, I could take hand in hand. I like them both, especially if you replace that thumb stud on the Chris Reeve knife. Don't forget to give the video a like if you're just joining the live. If 40 likes or something special happens. Yeah, I would appreciate if you guys dropped a like. And also, there's another thing I want to ask you guys. If you guys are going and buying any knives, I shouldn't say that. When you guys go and buy some damn knives, if it's a knife you happen to have seen on our channel, or if you like the reason why you're going and getting is because you liked it and you've seen it on our channel, blah, blah, blah. If you wouldn't mind, when you have the option to leave a note at one of those places, Knife Center, Blade HQ, whatever, throw us a shout out in their notes, like that you did see it on our channel, or that, that you saw our review or whatever. It's just, it can possibly help us, with the companies, and with them possibly throwing things our way and sending us stuff to review and blah blah blah. Um, you know, it just it just helps. I'm just saying that we'd appreciate it if only if though you've seen it on our channel and you liked it. Because I'd hate for you to do that and then they come and watch it and I'm shitting all over the damn knife. Yo, buy some Safe Moon, bro. Okay. All right. Rockstead time. Where is old Rocky? Oh, yeah. Somebody said they wished I would have did the sharpness tester on this. I don't think it would do that good, to be honest. And I say that because it's not like it was. This thing was so damn sharp. The first time when I first got it, I mean, it was really sharp, especially for a factory edge. If you could call this a factory edge, I don't even know if you could call this a factory edge because it's done to the a level of which no factory edges are. So I don't know if you could call it a factory edge, but if you were going to call it a factory edge, it was about as sharp as you could get. But now, after using it a little bit and everything, it's not like it was. Now, I wanted to talk about the strop that I got from sharpeningsupplies.com. Shout out to sharpeningsupplies.com. Definitely get all your sharpening supplies from sharpeningsupplies.com. This leather, man, is really good. I really like this leather. I haven't put any compound on it, but it's really, really good. It feels really good. I love, like, this is the kind of leather I personally like the most for my edges. Now, I don't know who uses it. I'm sure tons of people use it, but the flip side, I don't like this shit. So I was trying to think, like, because I got the green compound from sharpeningsupplies.com, the green stick, which this stuff looks like good green because I've seen a lot of different green compounds and I can kind of tell the difference now on which one's a good quality and which one's not. This looks like some good green compound. But I got my DMT diamond spray that I was thinking about putting on this. But I don't know. Maybe I should just use some of this stuff, because I do like the green stuff too, almost just as much as DMT diamond spray. So then I thought about it. I don't like this stuff. This stuff's shit. I'll just rip this shit off. Yeah, like that. Now I'll take this piece of leather and sand it down on this. Well, I'll glue it back down. So now I'll glue it back down, sand this glue off, which shouldn't be too hard. And yeah, and use both sides. There's no reason for this stuff to me. I don't use this soft stuff. I don't use that. I'm sure a lot of you guys do, but I personally just don't. I've never used it. Like, obviously I've used it, like I've tried it, but I've never gotten any benefits from it. I don't know. But man, it got glued back down. If I put it on this side and strip it down, I lost that damn beaver leather I had. I had some really good beaver leather. Now, I don't know, maybe it's good for it to be on there so you can just lay it down on stuff, and not really worry about it messing up your leather. Where we at? Has anyone in here ever mirror polished a blade? Thinking about trying it on my Tashi Prism. I haven't done a blade, like a whole blade. No, but who probably has is Knife Modders, Lindy Lou and Richie B. Just get yourself some sandpaper. Start at like 200 grit and work your way to a polish. I mean, you can do it. It's going to take a lot of handwork, but you can do it. There's a terminology for the leather sides. One is the outer layer and the other is the inner layer. I think the outer layer that is textured and the inner is smooth. I think it's the opposite way. I'm not positive though. I think the smooth one is the outer layer, like this. The inner layer is like, the inside of the skin. I thought that's the way it was. I could be wrong. I could be. I don't know. I do the opposite of mirror polish. I do all scratch. All scratch. Dings, nicks, chips. Gotta like some beaver. Yeah, I had a nice big old strip of that beaver leather or whatever, and I can't find it for the life of me. I don't know what I did with it. Justin, I have really recommended leaving it alone or starting with something inexpensive or something you don't care about. Yeah, that's true. I should have said that too. Yeah, recommend starting it on something, or at least doing a practice run on something you don't care about. Don't start doing it on something you care about, because you might find out that it ain't gonna work out as good as you'd like. I'm not saying you can't get a polish, but it's just like with anything, right? It's better to do a couple practice runs, get your technique down, know the problems you're gonna run into. I made a mirror polish into a satin on my kukri. Doing like Breeze, doing the opposite. Um, but yeah, it's not that hard. It's just, it's gonna take some, some finger action, some elbow grease. Um, what was I gonna talk? There was a few things I was gonna talk about. Oh, so I bought a clamp for the Sabenza, a C clamp. I had one laying around. I was gonna buy a vise because I don't have a vise here. I was just gonna buy a vise, but while I was in a hardware store, I saw the C, a pretty, not a big heavy duty one, just a regular C clamp. I'm gonna try to push that thumb stud out with that, the one on the Sabenza. If it doesn't work, then I'll just order a clamp. But I think the C clamp will work with a nut to go around it. You know, I don't know. Maybe I'll throw it in a video or something because it's kind of hard to explain without showing it. What's your opinion on electric sharpeners? Thinking about buying a work sharp Kent onion for my Bowie, machete, and folding knife. Okay, so my opinion on it. Okay, so first opinion is I have a video. So if you want to see my video on that sharpening device, I do have it. Um, I would say for fixed blades, it's great. If you want to do your kitchen knives, your fixed blades, your machete, stuff like that, amazing. Um, Even better is getting the belt grinder attachment, because it's so much easier just using the belt grinder attachment. So if you want, or if you can, get the belt grinder attachment as well. The problem with the guided system without the belt grinder attachment is the guides get in the way. If you have thumb studs or choil or anything like that, it's hard to get all the way up. Like if this is the thing, it's hard to get all the way up to the edge. Like you're like this. So you're missing this part. Like if I'm going to do this knife, it's like I'll get from like here forward and I'll miss back here. So, but if you could take off the guides and you get free-handed on there, if you're not worried about free-handing it, you could do that. But the belt grinder attachment has a flat spot where you can lay it down and then move it from the flat spot to the belt. And it works really easy. It's very easy to use. And to me, it's like a must-have if you have that system. But it works great if you're practiced in it and you're used to it, especially for fixed blades, machetes, swords, stuff like that. For pocket knives, I'd rather have the belt grinder attachment for pocket knives. I prefer other edges over an electric sharpened edge on pocket knives, but they're not bad. I'm not saying they're bad. It's a convex edge and it can be good. You got to be careful not to round your tip and stuff like that, though. Richie B asks, on a blade or on a scale? I think he was talking about on a blade, but I'm not positive, though. Hello from the Rocky Mountains. What's up, Christopher Skip on the Rockies? Wait, not sure who asked, but Jared just brought you up. Oh, excuse me. Richie, you talking about? Yeah, I was talking about the polishing the blades. So I get asked all the time about with the sharpening stones, because everybody sees my spray bottle with the soapy water. And I always get asked, like, what ratio do you mix that, for your soapy water? And the best way I can explain it is because you use dish soap, like Dawn dish soap. So when you put the soap in there, regardless of how much water's in there, when you shake it, the bubbles are going to expand. When the bubbles can expand enough to where you stop hearing that and it gets more to a, or more sounds like that. You guys ever done that with like a bottle of soap? You start shaking it and the sound like just muffles because the bubbles expand. When it gets to that point, it's perfect. It's good. So you can, it doesn't take much soap to do that. So really, you don't even have to think about it. Just put a good squirt in there, shake it up. It'll be perfect. Just shake it up to the point to where the bubbles and the soap expands. Next thing, why? Why do you use the soap on your stones? Well, if you have an oil stone, like a lot of stones are recommended for oil stones. Now, you don't have to use oil. You can use soapy water. But if you've already used oil, then you want to continue to use oil because the oil and the soapy water won't mix together. It will wind up bad. It just won't do what it's supposed to do because the point of the oil on the stone is to lift the metal particles off of the stone and stop it from seeping down into the stone and clogging the stone. It lifts the metal particles up so it can clean off easily, so the stone continues to cut the steel. Oh, fucking Canada. I'm sorry, guys. What? Are we back? Anyways, so I don't know where it cut off at. Sorry about that. But the oil is to keep the metal particles from going down into the stone, so it makes them float, so it doesn't clog your stone. So, but if you have a fresh stone and you haven't used any oil on it yet, you can use soapy water to work just as good. Now, if you've already gotten oil on it, or if it's a used stone, you can do it, but you want to boil it in hot water with degreaser. You want to get like what the hell, Purple Power or whatever it's called. I think it's called Purple Power. Get a degreaser and put it in a basically a hot fucking bucket of water and let it sit there for like 6 hours or however long. You can keep on filling it with hot water if you want and keep replacing it, but basically leave it for a day or two in some degreaser, let it degrease itself, rinse it off, do it again, go back and forth. And then you can get that stone nice and clean and start back from fresh with soapy water. But sometimes it's a lot more work than it needs. And you might, some people just prefer just to continue to keep using the oil instead of switching to soapy water, but you can do it still. And that degreaser stuff works really good on a lot of different stones. Um, essentially, essentially, you just need 180 grit to 2500 grit sandpaper and some compound, like a stropping compound to finish the mirror off. Richie B says, in my opinion, it's not worth the mirror polish a blade. Honestly, for a perfect mirror polish by hand, it takes an extremely long time. Expect 5 to 8 hours. And in the end, you will still have small scratches. Listen to him because he's he's done it, so he definitely knows. And then what would suck is after doing all that, and using it. Like you're going to be so scared to use it. It's kind of like the rock stud, right? Um, I don't mind using any of my knives, but this is one that scares me a little bit, because it's like I don't want a big old fucking gouge down the polish of this knife, especially for the price, Especially this is the thing, is that why would I put this thing through some dirty ass cardboard that's gonna scratch it? It's gonna scratch it when I have this knife or this knife or this knife. Like, do you it's like, why would you do that? It's kind of like having a pickup truck and a Ferrari and driving through mud. Right? It's like, why would you take your Ferrari through mud when you got a damn pickup truck? Now I'm not saying the Ferrari's not badass. I'm just saying, like, when it comes to using it and abusing it and actually using it as an EDC. Now I have no problem using that knife, but I'm gonna be careful with how I use it. Right? There's a level of use, right? It's kind of like, even like this knife. I'm not going to use this knife to pry with. I'm not going to use this knife to do 600 feet of cardboard cut. No, I'm going to use a knife that can hold it a little bit better and a better grip, feel better in the hand. Same thing like with the rack set. I'm not going to use that to break up 600 feet cardboard. I'll use that to cut a package open or something. Flips won't do much if you've done your polishing progression correctly. Flips will not remove any scratches from sandpaper, even the 2500 grit. Todd Carr says float glass and 3M adhesive sandpaper to about 3 micron. Takes forever, but you can get a great mirror edge. Yeah, you can get a great mirror edge, but I don't know about doing an entire knife like that. But yeah, for a mirror edge, yeah, definitely. He got to update. I polish my lines. Why is my chat late on this side, but this side is early? I don't fucking know. So somebody was asking me about clip points. Why do I not like clip points? So I do like clip points. What I don't like is the Persian style clip points. So if you guys ever seen, let me pull this knife out. If you guys ever seen, I'm sure you have, the clip points where this is a clip point buoy where the clip goes down and then goes back up, where basically this point goes up like that. I hate those. I personally, for me, like maybe if I was out hunting, because they're good skinning knives, but to me, they're not very useful for EDC for the things that I do use EDC for. Now, some people might call this a clip point. Some people call it a reverse tanto. I would just call this a sheep's foot or a clip point, or a spay point. But for like a standard clip point like this I do like. But you notice how the tip, it doesn't go back up. It doesn't curl like that. A lot of clip points do though. I like the ones where the tip points straight down, where I can still use it for utility tasks. If I can't use my tip without going like this, I don't really want it, or it's not very useful to me. I like, right, what about the XM18 buoy blade tip? Do you like that? So like that one is kind of like what I'm talking about. That one can be okay because it's more like this, where it's not too much. Now, I've never used it or had one in hand, so I might be wrong. I don't know. Looking at it, it looks like it would be just fine. But if it does curl up and where the tip is like pointing towards the ceiling, then no, I personally wouldn't like it as an EDC knife. But I don't think it's like that though. I'm pretty sure it's kind of like what I just showed. I like drop points and some spear points. I do too. I love drop points and spear points. My favorite, I think, is drop point, spear point, and sheep's foot. Sheep's foots are really good in my opinion because of a couple reasons. One, I think they do great with a hollow grind. That's one of them. They do really good with a hollow grind. And number two, they have that tip pointing down like I like. And that little bit of belly it literally has the exact blade shape I need. It's got the flat for push cuts, it's got the belly for slicing, and it's got the tip for utility cuts. Now, clip points to me have a drop and swedge usually center tip. See, that's what I don't like. So it's only slightly upwards. Yeah, if it's only slightly upwards, it's not a big deal. It's when it's excuse me, if it's past the center point, like this is at line with the center of the pivot. If it goes higher than that, I'm not a big fan. Or if it goes much higher, like if it's only a tiny bit, obviously it's not that big of a deal. But TRM for the fucking win. Oh, I do want to talk about something. So I got a couple people talking about because that 20 two a day video I did with Julio, which awesome. Julio did that. I was really happy that he did that. Now people were talking about me fidgeting in it. And the reason why I was fidgeting in it was because I broke a fucking tooth. And I had to go to an emergency dentist appointment, but I wasn't willing to not do that video. So I'm in fucking pain. And it was a front tooth. Got it fixed. I'm all good now. But during the video, you guys can't see it. I try not to smile. Plus, it wasn't a smiling type of video. Excuse me, I got a cough. But yeah, I was in pain, man. I was in pain. So, I wasn't. The show still had to go on. I did make it to the dentist and got it fixed, got it tuned back up. But yeah, I broke a fucking tooth. And wasn't doing very well. It's not very nice. You're in pain. Like the fucking air's irritating. It's like if anybody knows about a toothache or a tooth being in pain, it sucks, man, because the signal is so close to the brain. It's not like, say, if you break your finger or something. The signal's so close to the brain, it never shuts up. It never stops. It's just like piercing you in the fucking head. So, anyways, next thing I was gonna say is that I could tell that are you fighting again? No, I'm not fighting again, but I could tell with Julio though, like, because before when we were talking about doing the video, me and him talked about it, and he really wanted to do it, and I know he's happy he did it. Which shout out to him. That's awesome. I appreciate him doing it. But I could tell it. I don't know. Maybe it was fine. I don't think it was a bad idea to do, but I could tell that he wasn't like. I had to shut it down. The conversation. I had to shut. Sorry, let me take a drink. I had to shut it down. He wasn't doing good. I could tell talking about the subject started getting to him. And so that's why I just ended it right there. Like I ended it and not like ended the video, but ended talking about him. Me and him talk all the time. I already know the story. I already know it. Me and him talked about it for a couple years now. So I've known him for a while. But him expressing his story to the world is another fucking story, And I could tell him thinking about it, him putting himself back in that place wasn't good for his mental health. So I stopped it as quick as I could, and we got on to another subject in the checking out knives. So I just want to put that out there that that's why we didn't spend too much time talking about him. Um, but maybe another video another day. I don't want to risk his anything, his mental health or whatever. Just got done with that shit. It was obvious. It's painful to talk about. I thought about he was doing after he went home. Yeah, I talked to him. And he wasn't doing great. So I'm glad and I talked to him about it and we worked it out and he felt better after talking about it, but it did, it definitely affected him in a way that possibly could have went negative, but it didn't though. It did wind up working out. Me and him talked about it. We talked about how when he started talking about it, he it brought it back to where he kept thinking about it, and and then after we talked about it again, obviously off camera, I think he felt better about it and he stopped. But yeah, shout out to him for being such an awesome dude, and putting his heart out there, because that's not easy. It's not easy. It's not easy to put your heart out, emotions, and like the painful things that affect you. Just got done with that shit too. Damn, I need some cough syrup or something. Tell Julio we all appreciate what he did. Yeah, I've told him, because that's why he did it, man. He did it because he knew it was something that was good for everybody else. Like, when he thinks about what it does to everybody, like, put it this way, when I talked about doing that video, he fucking jumped at the option to talk, right? Or to talk about his experience, or even to be a part of it, because he's a prime example, right? He's a prime fucking example. And I know we didn't get deep into his story, but I can't express, you guys can imagine, use your fucking imaginations. I can't express how much he's a prime example of that. And he's still suffering today, obviously. So it's he jumped at the to be able to talk, not just talk about him, but to help, like knowing that there's people out there, and that his story, or even just bringing awareness to it, you know being a part of bringing awareness to it. If he could be a part of it, then he wanted to, you know he he jumped at it. So, and hats off to him, man. Hats off to him. Jared doesn't like the COVIDs. He is into Dick Vids Talica. I'm into Dick Vids. Not COVIDs. Nothing worse than ruminating on something you've been through that was extremely painful, both physically and emotionally. Yeah. Right. And then I think there's a level of which, if you are secure with it, and like, if it's something you're okay with mentally, right, then by all means you should talk about it. And I think even sometimes when you're not, sometimes that's what you're supposed to do. That's what you need to do. But there are some things that if it's not that part of your life, or you're not physically and emotionally and mentally secure with it, then talking about it needs to be in the right environment. It needs to be in the right environment with the right people, and by your own like ability, like when you want to, when you're ready, and everything else. Like, making somebody, or forcing, which it wasn't forced, but I'm just saying, like, having somebody talk about something that's very emotional to them in a fragile part of their life might not be a good fucking situation. And especially when they've been down dark roads. Sometimes you don't want to put them back in that situation, which I never did. And I'm not saying he did, but I also wasn't willing to risk it, you know. So, but I think he did great. I think he did awesome, and I'm so proud of where he's at right now, what he's doing. And for me to even say that, like, I feel like, it's not even the right words. Um, but yeah, I think anybody who struggles with anything that's that really touches them, sometimes it's a good place to do it. And I think when you are in a good place, it's easier for you to talk about. Like, there's a lot of things that I can talk about today that I couldn't have talked about 4 years ago, or even 2 years ago, at least as easily. You guys are crazy. Um, The Wallaby. I picked up a Buck limited edition 500 Wild Bill Cody Custom Duke today. Damn, that's a long name. I never even heard of that. The Monterey Bay Slayback is a fidget machine. The struggle is real. Absolutely, Don. Absolutely. I don't know if I'm gonna go over any more of these. But I did want to talk about isn't it funny how hey, welcome back, Laws. It's been a while since you've been on the live. Yeah, it has, hasn't it? Well, it's been a few weeks, I think. The Wallaby I picked up, yeah, he's just the one who said that. But yeah, what's up to you? Thoughts on the Norseman? I like it. I think I've never tried it, but I like it. I think it's expensive. I think it's hard to get, but I like it. It used to be my grail. It used to be my effing grail, but I've never handled one, so I really can't speak on it too much. But people that I like in the community love it, so that says a lot. But isn't it crazy how what you come into the community loving, you evolve, right? Like so, like if I came into the community loving big beefy knives, right, that are all drop points. Then, like as I move toward or forward, I start getting into medium-sized Warncliffs or something. Zach, thanks, bud. Thank you. I appreciate it, bud. Thank you so much. Zach's in the house. And then you wind up forming and evolving into something else, like skinny, sleek, knives, and you like only frame locks, and then you start liking liner locks for whatever reason. Then you start wanting knives with holes, that you can reverse flick. And then you start liking maybe little tiny knives because you need backup knives to your big knives. And then after you've gone through everything, you circle back to the thing you loved in the beginning. Isn't it crazy how we just evolve as a knife community or knife people to the point to where, I mean, there's always going to be something I think that you don't like, that you'll never like. But some things, even you don't like, you start changing your tune. Like even like how we were just talking about clip points. I used to hate clip points. Unless if they were like on a fixed blade, but for pocket knives. Then I started liking clip points as long as the tip was pointing down. Persians. I don't like Persian knives, but there's been a couple Persian knives that I actually did like, and they were badass. But Jeopardy music cue. Just picked up the set limited edition Kershaw Leak glow in the dark 500 run carbon fiber CPM 154. Badass. Hell yeah. Good for you. I seen that new clip point they have, or I guess you'd call it sheep's foot, whatever you want to call it. What do you think about the Oz Machine Roosevelt? That's one of my grails now, right now. That's one of my grails now. I think it looks fucking sweet. I think it looks badass. I heard they're ultra lightweight. I think some of them carbon fiber scales that he makes are sweet. I think the all titanium ones are sweet. I think that new pattern that he's got, the mill pattern, I think that's sweet. I think it's like a diamond pattern or whatever. I think they're all badass. I like them. Yeah, that's all I can really say. I want one bad. Can't afford one, but I want one. I also know that they're hard to get. They're hard to get. That's the one thing about them, is that to get one is nearly impossible. So it doesn't matter how much I like them because I can't get one. Sometimes there's knives that you love, but they're so far out of reach for you that it's like, I love it, but I don't want to love it because I can't get one. And I hear the same shit between everybody, like with this shadow, like so many people love it, but they can't get it. So then they fucking hate it because they can't get it. I think I can separate myself from mine at this point if you want to check it out. I'd love to check it out, man. I've been wanting to check them out. What sucks is like you check it out and you want one, but then you can't get one. Um, I can't afford one anyways, but because like sometimes like with expenses, I know people think like, man, I've seen you spend $250 twice or $300 on a knife twice. And it's like, yeah, but that's it's hard to spend money from my point of view, which don't get me wrong, I would, do it. But sometimes like with the channel, it's difficult because it's like I want to get 3, 5, 10 videos out because say one knife will get me 1 or 2 videos and then videos in the future like top 10s, top 5s, or what other videos. 3 will get me 20 videos. You know what I mean? Like it's just so much more content and I have to think about the channel. Now I think about myself all the time too. But hey, thanks, Punch. Punch Out says, great channel. Keep up the great work, brother. I appreciate that, man. Thank you. Thank you. Man, that fucking fight, right? It just Lots made me think about it. I told you guys. I mean, I honestly thought Ben Askren was going to win between Ben Askren and Jake Paul, but I don't know if I thought he was going to win, but I wanted him to win. I don't think I ever really thought for sure he was going to win, but I wanted him to so bad. I really wanted him to win. But Jake Paul, man, I told you guys, man, he can box, he can fight, he's put in the work, and Ben Askren can't box. He can fight, but he can't box, and that's how it works. Hey, it's an addiction. Thank you, man. Thank you so much, bud. I appreciate that. Oh man, thank you. That's so awesome. Thank you so much. But yeah, man, I wish he would have got his ass beat so bad. Now it's like, I just want somebody else to get in that ring right now. Like, it's like, I wish they could be like, listen, Jake Paul, you really didn't fight that big of a fight. Like, you didn't get hurt, right? So you're still ready to fight. So we got this guy right over here. Okay. He's 6'3". He's 36-0 for boxing. I just wanted to get in there and just beat the fucking tar out of him. They give him credit though, man. He won the fight fair and square. But I do wonder though, did they stop it early? Did they stop it early? I don't know. You got to give the ref credit. It's his job to keep the fucking fighters protected. And I don't usually talk shit about the motives or the choice in the ring. He sees things you can't see. He sees behaviors you can't see. It's kind of like I've heard them talk about like when somebody gets knocked out, when they're going down, if their hands go to stop themselves, then they'll usually won't call it a KO. They'll usually, as long as they get up and everything. But if their hands don't attempt to stop them, then they have to call it right there. They know that guy was just knocked out. Like there's certain little cues and little behaviors that the ref looks for that we can't fucking see. So, and his number one job is to protect the fighter from getting seriously injured. So, but I couldn't help but see how fast Ben Askren got back up. I don't care if he was a little off a little bit, but I don't know. I don't know. But when I eventually go to Blade Show, I will definitely be sporting purple pants. I would fucking hope so. Everybody will know there's lavender pants and there's lavender pants. Yeah, it's hard to tell with refs. I know it's easy to judge, but it always looks different in person than from a camera in a living room. Absolutely. They can hear the hit, the grunts, the eyes rolling back. Yeah, everything. Even like I was just saying, like with the hands, like how quickly the hands go back, whether or not they were actually trying to stop the fall. Because like somebody who's knocked out, they'll go back like that. Like they'll go straight down on their back. Somebody who's not knocked out just took a heavy hit, and they're like almost knocked out, but they're not, will usually defend the fall. at least a little bit. You know what I mean? Or like your knees, the way your knees buckle. When you get knocked out or when you get hit just right, your legs go straight, or they buckle. One of the two, like they stop, they don't they you'll fall without your legs protecting you from falling. There's a way like you fall with your legs like where they're protecting you from hurting yourself as you fall. Then there's the ones where there ain't nothing your legs can do. Like your legs are dead. Rematch monster. I don't know if it deserves a rematch. I honestly think that Jake Paul would win every time because unless Ben Askren trained for a year or two, like he's not a boxer. He's not. He's a wrestler. To tell that person, it's kind of like this. You could take Mayweather, okay? Mayweather, a boxer, and put him in the ring with a wrestler. He's got just as much chance. Mayweather would fucking get stomped. He would get fucking smeared all over the floor, getting choked out left and right. He would have nothing. Now put him in a boxing ring. He's gonna take out whoever you throw in front of him. He's the best boxer in the world, but he's not a wrestler. It doesn't matter that he's a boxer. Now, with Ben Askren, the one thing he had was that he's a legit fighter, and Jake wasn't or isn't. Now that he's actually beat a legit fighter, he does have a little bit more power to say, I'm an actual fighter. I wouldn't say that, but he could. you know, I think taking advantage of a fight like that, not saying he took advantage of a fight, obviously, he's going to take what he can get, blah, blah, blah. It was a real fighter, blah, blah, blah. But was it? I mean, Ben Askren's not a boxer. He's a real fighter, but he's not a boxer. And to take him and take away every strength he has in a ring, it doesn't work out. It's like everything he can do and that he knows what to do and how to do, you take that from him. You take everything and strip it from him. So when you do that, is he a fighter anymore? I mean, I don't know. Yeah, he's a fighter out, you know what I'm saying? Like it's hard to put that and make that like the competition. It's kind of like taking a professional bowler and then putting him out in the fucking basketball court and fucking telling him to play basketball. It's like it's not. Yeah, he's still a professional, but he's not a damn basketball player. But I wish Ben Askren would have won that. I wanted him to win so bad. Changing those parts looks fine for next M18 with its hardware, but on the fire tech, it's dumb. I guess when we're talking about hardware, Rsk Mk1 limited edition to 250 mine is 170. Rust in the chat. I'd like to see him fight anybody that's a good boxer that can actually box. Even like, and not even necessarily, I guess it doesn't have to be a professional boxer. He's looking towards MMA fighters because they're not professional boxers, right? He's looking towards MMA fighters because the second you take somebody whose skill is mixed martial arts and take everything away and say you can only use this. Like there are a couple that are saying like I'll fight him right now, right? And he's not taking those fights. Why? Why isn't he taking those fights? Because he knows he probably would lose and he's not willing. He wants a chance, right? And that's smart. I wouldn't, you don't want to take a lose-lose. Like, like what his brother's doing. His brother's doing a lose-lose with Mayweather, which I think is hilarious. I give him credit for it, man. He's going to get in the ring with the best in the world and think he's going to win. I don't think he thinks he's going to win, but there's kind of like that. If I got a chance, it's kind of like Dumb and Dumber when he goes, you think I have a 1 in 100 chance? And then she goes, more like 1 in a million. And he's talking about getting with that chick, and he says, you think it's like 1 out of 100 chance? And she's like, more like 1 out of a million. He goes, so you're telling me there's a chance? uh, Just a heads up, everyone, if I could pull it up. Just a heads up, everyone. White Mountain Knives is having a 20% off sale going on. Take a look if anything you've been looking at is included. Oh, thanks. Yeah, so there's the link to White Mountain Knives and anything you're looking at. And then shout out Neeves Knives while you're there. I forgot to let you guys know that this EDC, I got it on my belt. No, I'm not getting naked for you guys. But the Real Man, Real Leather. I forgot to say I got a 20% discount. I forgot to say it in the video. I wound up writing it in the I wound up pinning a comment and putting the code. It's a Neve20. But if you use that code, you'll get 20% off of $30. So you'll wind up only paying like $24 or something. I was looking at some other ones online that are better quality, like a lot better quality, because somebody made a comment saying, "Oh, it's all China, right?" And I said, they sourced all the materials and then they do all the work in Texas. So the places in Texas from this company, they obviously source all the materials and then mail them out from Texas. It's $24 after the discount. Can you really complain about it not being made in America? Now, if you want one made in America, I've seen some between like $80 and $140. Really good quality. I thought about it because you can just see it, man. The thread is so thick. It's double stitched, really thick thread. It just looks beefier and tighter. I thought about buying one, but then I thought about like, man, I already got this one. I got the brown one on the way. I can't afford getting another one right now. Maybe if I get the company to donate one to the channel, I'd review it. But yeah, Neve 20 is the GOAT. Thank you. But yeah, that is the code if you go on their website. 20% off. Shit, I didn't even use my own code because I'm a dumbass. Timber and Hitch. There's I can't think of the USA company. What's that one? I can't even think of the name of it. Doesn't matter. What's up, Knife Sergeant? Your phone is made in China. Everybody's still using them. I know. Just like a lot of things, like, whoa. Hold on. Phone's going crazy. Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of things. Now, don't get me wrong. I think that there's some things that if you can and you can afford it, you should go USA made. Whatever you can do to support your country, especially right now, do it. But there are certain things that's not the biggest threat. You know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong, knives, yeah, 80% of all knives are made in one city in China. 80% in the world, all the knives in the world. Now, are there some great knives made in the US? Yes, of course. And if you can buy them, buy them. Support those companies. But those, the Chinese brands are that's not what's fucking making our fucking economy tank and and everything. But there are a lot of other things though. It's like it's hard to find televisions that are made in the US, telephones, any phones, fucking lots of things. The Wu Flu. Fatty slash. We want the fatty slash. So I was going through some comments and like people get Metal Complex always makes it known when he does an unboxing, whatever he tries. It's just an unboxing, guys. It's an unboxing, right? Don't expect me to have information because you always get the people in the comments. Like I literally get people in the comments saying, "Oh man, you just flick knives. You don't even use them. You didn't even cut anything." It's like it's a fucking unboxing, dickhead. You obviously don't watch my videos very much, otherwise you'd know the reviews have cutting in them. Like and like the one guy, and I'm not trying to call anybody out, but like with the cut tester, it's like, Listen, man, you guys are watching a reaction of me unboxing it. It's a fucking reaction, basically. It's basically my reaction to unboxing it and testing it for the first time. No, I didn't read the instructions. Right? It's like I'm unboxing it. Like, who cares if I read the fucking instructions or anything yet? The review will come later. It will be in 100 videos. This is a fucking unboxing. It's my first impressions. You know, it's kind of like if I unbox a knife, I'm not going to be able to tell you how it cuts, right? Um, I can't probably even tell you what bearings are on the inside or anything like that because I haven't opened it up yet. But I sometimes I take the comments personal, and I got to be careful with that. I know they're not personal, and sometimes I think even with my own comments, like because I read a comment that I made to somebody back to somebody, and I honestly, the way I made the comment was humble. The way I wrote it, and the way my brain was saying the words as I was writing it was humble. I went back and read the comment like an hour later, and it sounded like I was being an asshole, like I was screaming or something. And I get, and I hope that people don't take comments, or if they read comments, personal. We got to stop taking some of these things that aren't that serious personal. Talking to myself too, because it's not. It never is. And I think sometimes we do when it's completely not. And I'm talking about myself too when I read comments from people. Not saying there aren't people out there that do get crazy and get really personal, but thank you, Diabetic Chad. Thank you. Russ, unfortunately, you cannot hear tone in 4 comments. Absolutely. For sure. You can't. Thank you, Diabetic Chad. But yeah, you're right. You can't hear the tone. You can't hear the voice, or that's why sometimes I try to, like, if I'm saying a joke, because sometimes I'll say a joke and I'm literally joking. I'm having a sense of humor, and if you read it like the way I'm saying it, it's obvious. But if I don't throw a laughing face in there, you might think I'm serious. So I try to throw a laughing face in there so that when you're done reading, you read. But then I thought about it one time, if like, what if they're taking it as I'm laughing at them? Like I'm being serious, and then the laughing face is me laughing at them. I don't know. People can take things so many different ways. That's why messaging is so much worse than phones. You ever seen those videos where they're showing like somebody messaging back and forth and both parties are taking it fucking the exact opposite? And if they were just on the phone talking, they would get it. Like they would have just a regular conversation. But since they're both reading each other's texts, they're both like on edge and fucking fighting. And so when do you go from saying a blade is a sheep's foot to being a drop point blade? Wait, to being a drop point on blades like the Griptilian, Giant Mouse, or a true sheep's foot like a Deviant. So the way I see it, there's a couple. So like this, there's no corner. So if there was a corner, I would say it's a sheep's foot. Like this. You see how there's a corner on top right here? This is a corner. This is a slope. So now, like the giant mouse, that is a slope too. But how rapid of a slope is it? Like, here we go. This, even though it has a slope, this would be a Warncliffe because it's straight down here. But yeah, I just think it has to do with the taper of the slope, and the aggressiveness of the slope, how fast it goes, and then how far it goes, stuff like that. But yeah, some blades can be mixed up. Now, a true drop point is just a taper from like this. This is like a true drop point. It goes from the spine down, right? But we start making all these variations where we have swedges here and then a bump here and it goes down, blah, blah, blah. But a real drop point is this. This is like a real drop point. It just drops straight down. That's why like Spyderco's drop points is almost a real drop point, even though it's a leaf shape. It goes from the spine down to the tip. But There's so many different versions. Even if you pull out the Envy, this is more of a straight back, but it's still a drop point. Goes from the spine, drops straight down. Let's see what this one is. Spiral, same thing, drop point. It just drops straight down. When you start getting humps and stuff, to me, that's when the versions start changing. Like this, I still call this a drop point because it's not dramatic right here. It's slowly tapering, and then right before it gets to the tip, it dramatically drops. Now, if it like had a corner there, it'd be a sheep's foot to me. Diabetic Chad, you taking out? Who's saying? Oh, who's leaving? Laws? Sorry, I started talking, getting crazy. See you later, Laws. Thank you for coming. Thank you for the donation. I appreciate it, bud. Thank you for coming through. But yeah, there's so many variations in blade shapes. There's so many, but there's only so many we can make, right? That's why there's so many arguments on blade shapes. Like kind of like the whole reverse tanto, spay point, clip point argument. I don't care what you call it. I know what you mean, but like a real sheep's foot, like a lot of people think it's supposed to look like a sheep's foot, but that was when you read the history on it, at least what I've read on it, is that it was made for sheep's foot. Not that it looks like a sheep's foot, even though it does. It does look like a sheep's foot. Even though this is a Warncliffe, we'll still call it a sheep's foot. It's supposed to, everybody thinks that, looks like a sheep's foot, which it does, but it was supposed to be made for cutting the nail off of a sheep's hoof. All right, I feel like a sheep's foot blades just don't really have any defined belly. They are practically a Warncliffe that isn't completely straight. It has the slightest curvature, but not having a belly. Yeah, I think because to me, a sheep's foot should have belly. Like that is one of the main things with a sheep's foot, because the reason why was because it wasn't supposed to hit, it's supposed to have the belly there and not penetrate. I think an original sheep's foot, the tip wasn't as acute as we use pocket knives for now. It was more rounded, but it's because you're supposed to be able to get in there and carve out the inside of a sheep's hoof or whatever, or around the edge without fucking stabbing the sheep. But yeah, I think it has to have belly, at least a little bit. Oh no, it's my shit. There we go. And it doesn't have a pointy tip, right? But that's what I was just saying. Like, it wasn't originally supposed to. But pocket knives taking the blade shape and incorporating it into a pocket knife is what we've done. So there's obviously going to be variables and variations of it, even though it's still that blade shape. It's like, just because there's a variable doesn't mean it suddenly turns into something else. It's still the closest representation of that blade shape. So that's why I like the argument between a Japanese and an American tanto. An American tanto is always straight. It always has a straight edge. So if this is not straight, then it is a Japanese tanto, because it doesn't matter how much you want to argue that, no, a Japanese tanto doesn't have a secondary tip. A Japanese tanto has this. Doesn't fucking matter what you want to say. If it's not straight, an American tanto is always straight. So anything not straight right here on this edge is going to be considered a Japanese tanto. And a lot of people don't know, but there are a lot of different Japanese tantos. There's actually a name for each one. It just depends on which one it is. And I see a donation. Bees Blades. Thank you, brother. Thank you, man. Man, I appreciate the donations. You guys have no idea how much I appreciate the donations. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Tri-State EDC. Hey, yo. What's up? What's up? I think it just gives one something to obsess on when getting tired of talking about their favorite steel. After you pay for it, call it whatever you want. Yeah, true. What is a Kara? What is a Kara? Nothing. Nothing. No, you didn't. We're talking about the Spyderco Kara, the Kara. Um, but yeah, I think just like even like with the money, right? Like a lot of times I get comments on steals, right? Is the steel even worth that much money? Like some people say I can't tell the difference between my 440C and M390. And in that case, that steel might not be worth the price to you. If you can't tell the difference, because some people say, can you even tell the difference? Can you tell the difference between 440C and M390? If you use your knife once a day and don't sharpen your knife, but every 6 months to a year, no, you can't tell the difference. How? How could you? Um, Now, if you use your knife every day and you're cutting things every day and opening things every day, and even if it's light duty, but you're still using it daily and you're sharpening it once a month, once every other month, however, because when you have more knives too, you don't have to sharpen as much. If you have 10 knives, why the fuck would you have to sharpen it every month? You don't use that knife every day, right? Now maybe you have one work knife and then the other knives are kind of just like, your babies or whatever. Well, then with that one work knife, you're gonna be able to tell, but in some of those cases, no, it's not gonna be worth it to you. You either want it or you don't. But is it gonna be worth it to you? Like, are you gonna get the most out of it? I mean, you might say yes, because in that case, you might not ever sharpen that motherfucker because you don't use it enough. But are you going to be able to tell? Probably not. But now, if you use your knife every day, and you cut with it every day and you actually sharpen it, because sharpening the steel, just like the question, like, can you tell the difference sharpening two different steels that are, or the opposite? No, not if you haven't sharpened a lot of steel. It takes you having sharpened steel lots and lots and lots to understand the feeling of the steel, the way it sharpens, and different stones and how it feels on that. Hey, Brian, thank you, man. Thank you so much, man. Thanks for all the info you put out. I'm considering ditching my Halfstone guided system and going all in on freehand. Worth the frustration I'm bound to go through. That is amazing. And you know what? In my opinion, this is basically me, because a lot of people will absolutely disagree with this, and they can. But I think it is absolutely worth the frustration. You know, a lot of things people like, say a guy who likes to work on his own car, all right? A guy who likes to work on his own car or house or whatever, right? Some people, that's not worth the frustration. They'd rather call a mechanic. They'd rather call a construction worker, a carpenter or whatever. But then some people find the value in doing it themselves, and to look at their work like I did that. And in that case, if you're that type of person, then yes, it's totally worth it, because you are going to get frustrated. You are going to get irritated, but you're going to get better. Then after you get good, that's your edge on your knife. You're going to appreciate it so much, and not even just appreciate, but it's another, like, it's another avenue to more of the hobby, right? It's like kind of like discovering a whole nother knife brand or other styles of knives or something. It's like it's another part of the hobby that you can love, and it kind of makes knives even cooler now. Like, you start getting into the different stones, right? The different kinds of stones. You start getting into the different types of finishes. You start getting into, the different kinds of polishing, the different types of strops, and the different kinds of leather, and sharpening different angles and sharpening different shapes, and like there's just so much to it to get into, that it makes the hobby from this to this. And then, and like I said, and then fucking up and fucking up and fucking up, and then all of a sudden just doing really good work, man. You appreciate it, you know. It's kind of like I don't want to say like working out, but it's like working out and going through all the struggles, and then a year later being swole, or losing the weight, or working on an old car in your garage and banging your knuckles, and being up all night fucking tinkering with the little parts, but then 2 years later you got this fucking muscle car and you're rolling out of your garage, and I fucking put the blood, sweat, and tears, and it's kind of like that, but obviously a little different, but you know what I mean. Oh, Jared, you see what you did? The story of this fucking channel. Oh, you made Ed cry. How dare you? Oh, why? Where's that at? Why is he crying? I found you through Metal Complex. You have that freaky love for knives like me, and I love it. That is awesome. Chad, that's awesome, man. And Metal Complex is awesome. We love him over here. Been watching him since before we ever had a channel. And yeah, he's been awesome to us. He's always been cool to us. We give him shit. So if you ever hear me talking shit about Metal Complex or giving him shit, it's 100% a joke. I fuck with them. I like to mess with them. And yeah, I crack jokes on him and just joke around about him, but I love him to death. So don't ever take it personal or serious. I know people have, as if like I'm really like being serious, and it's just me having a sense of humor. He understands. Me and him have talked about it, so it's okay. He's got a sense of humor himself. Sense of humor himself. Um, Ed wants to see the fatty slash. What's the fatty slash? The fatty slash. Ed wants to see the fatty slash. The fatty slash. What the fuck is the fatty slash? Am I like fucked up right now? Is there something I don't know about that I have, or something that I can't think of? What's the fatty slash? I feel like I got a brain fart right now, and it's probably right next to me or something. What is it? The big boy? Oh, okay. Yeah, I know what we're talking about now. Okay, yeah, we'll get that bitch out here right now. Ooh, it's not too far away, is it? Banger. This thing's insane. It is so crazy. Oh man, I might have to tighten the pivot just a little bit, but flipping action is still good. The other day, I think I said it in that one live. I went to flip it, my finger got stuck inside back here. But yeah, this thing is a beast. You want to see the thick blade stock? This knife right here has a very thick blade stock. The Microtech SOCOM Elite. Everybody knows this knife has a crazy thick blade stock. But does it? What? Like, this thing has a crazy thick tip. But this one, what are we talking about? This thing's a baby compared to this thing. This thing is nuts. It doesn't even make sense. Like, look at look at that. That's thick. Thing's crazy.
You're crazy.
Yes, I am. Thank you, Lavender Pants. Yeah, definitely check out that video if you guys want to see thin knives. This would not be a thin knife. This is a thick knife. But I just uploaded a video with almost 20 knives of a bunch of different thin knives. They're not in any type of particular order, but there are a bunch of thin options if you're the type of person that likes the thin, the nice and thin knives, the knives that not like meaning behind the edge or anything, just the thin knives, the knives that they're really nice in the pocket, they're nice and slim. Yeah, it's a good video though. B says there's nothing like getting a stupid sharp edge for the first time when sharpening. You start to get it, then you're addicted to another part of knives. Right. Yeah, it is an addiction, because what winds up happening, or at least from my experience, and I've noticed this from other sharpeners too, is you start getting the hang of it. And you start getting that sharp edge. You're able to cut through paper, because at first, man, you can't even get through paper. You start sharpening and you're trying to get that level of which you can slice through some paper. But You just can't because you're not apexing, right? And you're not getting that good, clean apex slice through paper. So, but you're trying to. Then all of a sudden you get it. And you get that clean cut. And it might not be very quiet. And it might be very loud, but you get it. You're like, oh, yes. Then you start working on it and get good. But then something happens where you start doing worse. For whatever reason, this happened to me. I know it's happened to a lot of other people, a lot of other sharpeners. And it's, for some reason, you're just not doing as good as you were. And it's almost like you're going backwards. Man, that fucker's sharp. And in my opinion, when you get to that point, you're at the top of the hill. Keep going. You like it literally, it's almost like it's made to frustrate you, to make you give up. It's like it's the devil. It's the devil working against you. Once you get to that point though, it's like if you just keep on going. Slow down, take a break, go slow. I think the reason why, this is my opinion on, or my thoughts on why that is that you start getting good. So then you start going fast. You think you got it down, so you start rushing, and you start rushing things that you didn't, the whole time. You think you got it down, so then you start fucking edges up. And what you need to do is you need to take a break, sit back, and go back to the essentials. Really look at your edge. Start paying attention to it. Every couple swipes, look at it. Couple swipes, look at it. Then, because as soon as if you keep going and keep up with it, you'll be right over the hill and you'll do the best edges you've ever done through the entire journey. You just have to keep up with it. There's gonna be times where you're frustrated. Don't get frustrated. Just know it's the journey, right? It's like with anything, if you were going to practice archery, there's gonna be times where you miss the target every time and you're gonna have to find those arrows. Like, it's just the way anything goes when you perfect something and you're trying to get to a level of professionalism. Love the 940, but the damn Omega springs keep breaking on it. Any suggestions on 940 alternatives? Open to anyone in chat. I personally, if you really like the 940, the bug out's good. The Griptilian, if you're wanting like that type of action, to me, the Mannix is like the best. You're not going to have to worry about Omega springs breaking. It doesn't have Omega springs. It has a stronger one single spring. So I personally would recommend the Mannix. If you're wanting something slim like that, maybe the bug out. Now, I never broke any Omegas on the 940. I have broke them on the bug out though. You also have Asher knives. Asher knives are really good. The Asher Nomad 2.0. They send you extra Omega springs. So, what's another one? Yeah, I mean, a lot of companies aren't using. I mean, there are a lot of companies, I guess, using Axis locks. Oh, the Doug Ritter Rsk Mk1, another great one. They also have the Hogue Deca. That's another good one. The Hogue Deca. Yeah, there you go. Awesome. I mean, that's where I would go if I was you, Patrick. For sure. Another one, yeah, Todd, the SOG XR lock. That is really good. That's another one. And you can get that for a really good price too. A lot like the Asher knives. But man, the Mannix though, something about that Mannix lock, because you don't have to worry about Omega springs. And, I love this ball lock, man. This ball lock is the shit. I know this is XL. Did they discontinue the XL? Because everybody I know has been trying to get them. I've gotten like 50 comments of people asking me, where can they get a Mannix XL? Where can they get it? And I didn't know that they discontinued it. Did they? Does anybody know about that? Did they discontinue the Mannix 2 XL? Broke 3 on my 945. I'm thinking the humidity in Malaysia will take it apart. Oh, yeah. That good point. Those omega springs you should definitely oil. In Malaysia or Florida or Louisiana or some places with um high humidity and stuff, yeah, fucking take them apart, oil them really good, maybe even grease them a little bit. Definitely, for sure. Good idea, and thanks for saying that because that's a good point. That could have a lot to do with why they're breaking. Now, mine broke from who knows why. Sometimes they just do. Um, but the ones on Etsy I found are a little bit better quality than the ones you get from Benchmade. They're just a little bit stronger. Lube it up. Yeah, that's what she said. I was attacked by a tree when I was younger, so I need a big knife for protection. There you go. You gotta watch out for them damn trees. They'll get you now, boy. Them damn widow makers. Damn it. No broken springs on any of Russ's Benchmades. I've got some that have never broken. I have put it this way. My oldest Benchmade has never broken an Omega spring. My second, third oldest has never broken one. Um, some just don't, but then others do. It seems like, it's kind of weird. It's like the one that does, it's going to do it again. That's just the way it seems. Like the one that doesn't break, and if it hasn't broken on you, it's probably not gonna. For whatever reason, maybe the Omega springs are just they're fit in there just right. I think sometimes it has to do with them snagging on something a little bit. Like instead of just going like this, they get snagged and it bends in, like like this, and that's what makes it snap. Something like that. No, Mannix 2XL is out of stock right now. But are they still making them though? Are they still making the Mannix 2XL or are they just out of stock? Like, are they going to restock them? Because I haven't seen any. I got this one secondhand. And ever since I got this one, everybody's been asking me how to get one, where to get one, whatever. I have yet to have seen any place stocked up on Mannix XLs. I'm so glad I got this one because I get to make a lot of you motherfuckers jealous. I'm just joking. I was honestly trying to get just the regular one when I got this one because this is a beast, but it's a damn good knife. But yeah, I wasn't even trying to get this one when I got it. I was trying to get this kind or just the regular one. Both, I love them both though. Thanks to the person that gave me this one. Oh, so they just make them in like small batches and release them every now and then? Okay. What's up, Stasa? Stasa 23 in the house. What's up, Big Daddy? Yeah, big old Stasa's in the house. Is the regular Mannix too similar size to the Tenacious? It's the same size as the Para 2. It's the best way to say it. It's the same exact size as the Para 2. The Para 2 and the Mannix 2 are like the exact same length. It's also the same length as the Benchmade Reptilian. All three of those knives are the same in length. Basically just in size. For those not to subscribe to Stasa 23, go do it. Here is the link to his channel. Thanks to Q1 Fiend. I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. And I really appreciate all the moderators in this chat because they definitely helped me out so much. So much. And isn't it a good time to be in the knives, guys? Aren't we like blessed to really be in the knives right now? I talk about this all the time that like 15 years ago, like somebody brought it up to my attention earlier. They said they've always been into knives, but for the last 15 years they just haven't really, into knives like that. So they came back, but he said it's been about 15 years since he was in the knives. And he said, man, has everything changed. He said the knife, like knives in general, have just gotten so amazing in 15 years between the steels, the materials, the money, the this, the that. And it's like, yeah, it is a great time to be into knives. Then you talk about the community, like, let alone the knives, right? The knives are just so badass. But away from the knives, the people in the knife community are just as cool. Like, this whole community is so awesome and so welcoming and so everything that it makes it like a cool kids club or whatever you want to call it. It's just like a cool club to be a part of. And sometimes being in a community, like, you got to imagine there's a lot of people out there that the community just saves, whether it's from addiction or tragedy or whatever, anything, or just maybe they just need that type of allegiance, like that type of people around them, just good-hearted people and fun people and energetic people, people that are just happy, good people. And this community is so awesome. We are blessed to have each other in this community, and I appreciate every one of you guys in the comments. Like, literally, people ask me a question, and I got people in there answering the question for me. And obviously in a good way, like, not in like a bad way, but in a good way, to where it one helps me out. There's just everybody's so awesome in this community, and I think we're definitely all blessed to have each other, and I appreciate all you guys, being so cool to me, and everybody. It's awesome. Yep, this community has saved my. I totally agree. Not with myself, definitely, and it's like home. It feels like home. It feels like a place, not only that you want to be, but you have to be. Like, you feel like it's like a family. You feel like it's family. Like, you don't feel like you're going to your girlfriend's dad's cousin's house where everybody's giving you shit. You feel like it's your, I don't know what I'm saying. You guys know what I'm saying. It feels like, it's just home. Everybody's great with each other. Everybody's cool. Everybody's helpful. And most people don't have bad intentions. I'm not saying there's not the cocksuckers out there that'll get you, but most people have really good intentions, and are only trying to help or back you up in a way. Most. I've taken apart my son's Terminus XR a couple times and sanded it down with Scotch Brite pad. The action still blows. Any advice? Would you scrub down with Scotch Brite? The phosphor bronze. The action blows, man. The X. Wait, no. Wait, the XR, it has bearings. Well, I don't know why I said right. Yeah, the Terminus XR has bearings. What are you sanding down? That's what I think might be the problem. I don't know what. Whoa, we got some donations. Thank you. Thank you, Jack. He says, shit. Thank you, OG. How's the sharpening on the infraction going? Good, man. Good. I don't want to release it here because I got a little video coming. So, but yeah, really good. Really good. Um, I spoke a little bit about S45 earlier, but I kind of want to save a lot of the information for the video. But great, bud. If you want to talk about it, let's talk about it after this. Um, but I don't know why the XR, the Terminus XR would have bad action, because one, it's on bearings. Two, it's an axis lock, so it shouldn't have stick or anything. I can't imagine why, to be honest. Maybe the pivot's too tight. Maybe it might be off. Like, you want to make sure all your screws go in at the same time, kind of like a rim. Sometimes, like, if some are tightened before the others, it can go like that, where it's not going straight in. It's going like this and then tight. So maybe check the screws, make sure that you're putting them in at the same time, kind of like a rim on a car. I would check stuff like that. Check the bearings too. Make sure they're rolling. Take them out and spin them around on a napkin or something. Make sure they're rolling. Make sure there's not a ball in there sticking, or that's you know, got something in it like grit. Wait. Do have any lock rock on the malice when closed? No, not whatsoever. It's solid. Perfectly solid. Not at all. And then open, nothing. It's solid. At least mine is. Not for mine. No, mine's not at all. Mine feels very tight. It doesn't have a very strong detent. Like it's not like crazy strong, but very good. I'm happy with it. OCD for EDC is in the house. What's up, bud? The roughness okay, here we go. Here's your answer, bud. The roughness comes from the lock bar writing on the blade tang, polished the tang. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So what he's talking about is this bar. When it's opening, let me see if I can't spin this. So right now it's going on the tang of the blade. As it spins, you have this part that's rounded right there. See that? Well, it's rolling against that bar until it gets to there. And then the bar, if you can see it, clicks up. Bang, pops up. So what he's saying is that that part of the blade um, might need to be polished. Maybe a little oil. I don't know. I don't want you to get lock stick from it, but it's probably that. I had the same issue now that I think about it with my bug out because the coating that they put on the access lock on the bug outs, like it's like it made it really gritty for like the first few days when you first get them. And every time I've had to replace the Omega springs, because I've had to replace the Omega springs a few times on this thing, every time it came back. So yeah, but it was the coating writing on that surface. As soon as the coating came off, it got perfect. It got real nice. But for a while, I mean, it was literally like it like literally sounded like sandpaper. So, but yeah, thank you, OCD. I appreciate that, bud. Thank you. Tri-state. That's what people are talking about when they talk about detent lash or detent play. Yes, tri-state. That's exactly what that's detent lash or detent play when the detent ball hole is bigger than the detent. And it's when it's closed, it's shaking or it's like rattling. Like I got knives with it. I could show you some knives with it, but that's what they're talking about. That's detent lash. I had somebody the other day ask me, well, what is detent lash? And I explained it. That is because the bug out has a tie lock bar, softer than the blade steel. I was always told that it was the coating on the bar, the black coating, because like my Griptilians, my mini grip, stuff like that. They don't do that. They're great. But yeah, I didn't know it was titanium. I thought it was I maybe I heard it wrong or read it wrong. I thought the person that told me why it was happening, they said it was like a titanium nitrate coating or some shit, the black coating basically. But yeah, it it's bad for a while. Like even now, it's still not perfect, but it's so much better than it was. Like I mean, I did have it perfect for a while, but like I said, every time I replace my studs, it or not my studs. Every time I replace my Omega springs, it goes right back to gritty because the strength of the new springs, just puts more tension on it. But if I keep cleaning that stuff off, the black stuff that winds up on the part, the round part of the tang of the blade, it goes away and it gets very slick until it comes back. I just keep cleaning and drying it off. And also the lock face where the lock bar, you know, falls in place. So like now, just wiping it off, Way better. I still hear it a little bit, but not bad. It feels pretty smooth. But yeah, I didn't know it was a titanium bar. Go figure. But yeah, yeah. And thank you, by the way, OCD. I appreciate that. Hey guys, wife's telling me dinner's ready. Have a great night. All later, Russ. I appreciate you coming, bud. What time is it? Almost 9:30. We'll do 5 more minutes and then we'll be out of here, guys. I can tell we've been almost going for 2 hours. And I can't wait till the next visitor comes on. We're like I said, I'm willing to I mean, whoever wants to come on, come on. But I got Metal Complex coming on soon. We haven't figured out a date or anything like that. I'm supposed to be going on Ray's thing with the couples. OCD is gonna be there. Um I only if Kara can go. I haven't made it 100 yet. Right now we're about 98%. We got to see her schedule the next day or so, but most likely we're going to be there. But I want to get Ray on here. I'd even love to have OCD on here. Stas has been on. I'd love to have him on again. Um, Whoever. I'd even one of these days I'll ask I'll probably wind up asking everybody, whoever wants to come on can, because I love having the conversations with the people one on one, face to face, so to speak. Not really, but you know what I mean. But it's always a good time. Always fun to talk to people and ask them questions and get their perspective on things, on a personal level and not personal, you know what I mean, like nice personal level. I'm gonna get going. Don't want to mess up my sleep schedule. Yeah, see you later. Seems logical. We're about to take off anyways, but I appreciate you coming and hanging out as always, brother. Love you, brother. Um, Great first experience here on live, Patrick. Man, this one was shitty, man. I'm just joking. But no, I hope you come back, Patrick, because we do have a good time. We talk about all different kinds of stuff, and it's always a good time. But sometimes, some are funner than others. But yeah, thank you for coming. I hope you do wind up returning. How about that fight? Damn, I know, man. I know. It broke my soul, man. I really wanted Askren to win, but he didn't have a good chance because he's not a boxer, right? I mean, it sucked. I really wanted him to win, but it just, you got to give Jake Paul credit. He put in the work, man. 2 years of training to box is going to make you a better boxer than somebody under with 9 weeks, 12 weeks, or whatever. Yeah, Ben Askren is a real fighter, but he's not a boxer. And it showed. Plus, he's been retired. He just got surgery. But and put it this way: if they did MMA, Ben Askren would fucking wipe the floor with him every day of the week. I mean, but if it's boxing and you take away everything Ben Askren has, as that what he uses for his mixed martial arts, like his best skills, I guess, his wrestling. When you take that away, yeah, and then you put him against somebody whose best skills are boxing. But yeah, like Ben Askren said, if he ran into him in a alley, he could commit a homicide with him very easily, and I believe that. Oh, sorry. Yes, every Wednesday and Saturday, Patrick, at 7:30 p.m. Central Time is the live. Every Wednesday and Saturday at 7:30 p.m. Central Time. Sometimes we have guests on. Sometimes it's just me. Sometimes it's me and my lovely wife. But yeah, it's always a good time. We talk about whatever. We don't really hold back on anything. I know a lot of channels don't like to talk about certain subjects. Here, we pretty much talk about whatever, and it's usually a good time, but we mostly talk knives. Sometimes I do halfway through, I'll do personal stories of past experiences, and sometimes we just talk shit after the first hour. In the first hour we talk knives, and then the second hour we just talk shit. And then sometimes we talk about knives the whole time. It's always different. But I appreciate you coming and hanging out. And thanks for having Stas on. Yeah, man, I'd love to have Stas on again. I now watch the ads knowing that it's watch takes for you guys to get paid. Yes, yes, it does. It does. And those of you guys that don't know that, yes, the ads that you do see, if you have to watch like a certain amount of it for us to get anything from AdSense, like blowing past it or whatever, or not watching, you don't get nothing. And yeah, it does help out when somebody's willing to watch 30 seconds of an ad, 1 minute of an ad, or the whole ad, that then it actually helps us, and the more watch time too is another thing. Like everybody thinks it has to do with subs. It has nothing to do with subs. It has to do with views and watch time. So if you have people watching a long length of your video and also watching, view content, like how many views you get, that's when you like put it this way. Recently, I had a video and YouTube sent me a note saying that this video is getting 3.5 to 4.5 times the normal traction. So they said, so we're going to put it out there more, right? Basically, they were just saying that, okay, your viewers seem to really like this video, so we're going to help push it out. And it got a lot of views, like literally like 5 times as much as I normally get for the amount of time. So like if a normal video got say 1,000 views in 36 hours or something, then I got like 5,000 views in like 36 hours. So YouTube helped push it through the algorithm and helped it get to more people's eyes and more people's what's that called? The suggestions. So it wound up in more people's suggestions. So therefore more people watched it. But YouTube ain't gonna do that if they see that the fucking video is not getting any views. If if it's not getting views, YouTube will not put it in front of other people's eyes. If it's not getting, like, say if everybody that clicks on it clicks off in 30 seconds, they're not pushing that video because they can see nobody likes it. And also the thumbs ups. If you give lots of thumbs ups and the video gets lots of thumbs up, they can tell, and thumbs downs, either one, they can tell people like the content. So then they'll push it more. But in order to make any money off of it, yeah, people got to watch ads. And it does help big time. No view, like AdSense isn't a lot, and that's the point. It's not a lot unless the people are helping out by watching some of them. So it's definitely a blessing when people acknowledge that and realize that. So thanks for bringing that up, bud. You don't even have to watch the ads per se. If you want to support someone, just go to a channel and go to video and press play and turn on autoplay. There you go. Yeah, when you're sleeping at night, fucking put autoplay on, or yeah, go to their shit and yeah, play it all night, whatever. Yeah, there's so many ways you can do it. There's so many ways you can help a channel out. Just like even the links that we have, like when you use the links to get to Amazon, and you make a purchase, stuff like that. That really helps. There's so many ways to support and help. And just like even like with this, the donations, man, the donations are so important to us. Our Patreon is crazy important. If we didn't have Patreon, like I couldn't tell you how it would fuck us up. Like it'd fuck us up for doing this and being able to put and buy content and keep running it. Not saying it would stop us because it wouldn't. We'd still keep going, but it'd be a massive dent because a lot of the money that we put into the channel comes from patrons. Uh, and yeah, my last two videos are doing terrible. You know what, man? I had one just recently that was doing terrible the first like 12 hours, but then it turned around after 12 hours. Um, Give it 24 to 48 hours. And there's a couple things you can do. I've been recently helping somebody else out, or a couple other people out, and there's a couple things you can do to encourage the algorithm. We can talk about it later if you want, Stasa. But yeah. All right, guys. Yeah, we're about to take off. Everybody, thank you guys for coming. I love all you guys. I appreciate you guys coming and hanging out. It's been a great night. And great talking with all you guys. You guys are awesome. Thank you to everybody who donated, man. Give you guys one last bell. Thank you so much. You know, we really appreciate all the donations. They really help us stay above. Like, I have a certain amount like every month from the channel that it makes, and without the donations during the lives, we would drop dramatically below that amount that's helping us stay afloat doing the channel. So I thank you guys for keeping us afloat with the donations. Every dollar counts, and I appreciate it. And then thank you to everybody who does help through my comments. Thank you to all the patrons. Thank you to everybody who helps send me knives to check out. Thank you to all the people that donate knives. And yeah, you guys are all awesome. And thank you guys for hanging out with me, because this is something that truly is awesome to me. And I love doing this with you guys. I love talking knives with all my homies. So thank you guys. I love you guys. Peace out. Bang.